Okay, so step 2 is to prepare your fire. There will be a white grid with wires attached. At least 40 squares of deco mesh in whatever color fire you requested. And a bag full of zip ties with a mini string light. Oh, and we have our 2 pipe cleaners here, which are going to be used on the string light battery to secure it to the wreath frame. That's for later though. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is take your grid and your lights and carefully unwrap these lights. Okay, be careful. You can tangle these very easily, I have. But if you go slowly, it's easy. I know, this is just so interesting to watch, isn't it? Uh-oh. Oh, yay. Okay. Now, there is absolutely no rhyme or reason to where you put these. But, you know what, let me go back. You don't need to put anything up here on the neck here. The neck of the bottle, really. Because that's what it looks like to me. Sorry if you can't see it very well. That might be a little bit better. But up here, you don't need any lights because that's going to be underneath the dragon's mouth. So forget about putting lights on that area. So otherwise, there's no rhyme or reason. You're going to take them and you're just going to glom them on. This is where a whole bunch of zip ties come into play. Now, it depends on how, well, I like to turn it on so I can see where the lights are going to be first, because I like to plan it out a little bit more. So, you know, I might go like this. I'll grab a zip tie. And you're going to want to take your zip tie, put it through one of the holes, loop it around, and then go over like, you know, 1 or 2 holes. But none of this is an exact science, keep that in mind. And my lights are falling all over the place. But you can see, here we go. You can see basically that's just how you go. You keep on going now. Do your best not to entangle yourself in it. Okay. So once again, take your zip tie, put it through one of the teeny weeny little holes, put it through another hole, back up, and zip tie it. And again, I'm using 4-inch zip ties right now. I'm going to give you 6-inch because most people will probably find that more comfortable. So just keep going like this until you get to the end. You're going to want to leave at least this much. So I'd say about 6 inches. You're going to want to leave about this much wire. Basically to the first light, you're going to want to leave that hanging off of the grid. Okay. That's because you got to reach it around the scales and put it on the back of the wreath. So you want to make sure you have that room. Okay, so like I said, I'm not going to make you watch me do all this, and I'll be back. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to actually make the flames. Again, yeah, this is how they look. And when you zip tie, you want to zip tie, I don't know, about a ½ inch, I would say, from the top. You kind of got to go with the knot and see where the knot is. So what you're going to do for each flame is you're going to take 2 of the squares of deco mesh. Now these are 5½ by 5½, cut into squares. So you're just going to take random colors, and you're going to turn them into the flames. So you're going to want to take this, and you're going to want to put them together. You're going to want to start stretching out the 2 opposite corners, whichever ones you have in your hands. And then you're going to put it down. And you're going to notice that these 2 inner corners here are starting to curl towards each other. You're going to kind of want to either put something down on here so that it keeps its shape and it stays this elongated diamond kind of shape. But you want to just tuck these in like this so that they don't get in the way. And you're going to bunch up the center. Just like that. Now, what you can do is you can literally just fold it in half and zip tie it like that. Fold it in half. Fix that a little bit. And I'm going to put my zip tie on. And again, you guys are going to have 6-inch zip ties. These are 4-inch that I'm using. So you can zip tie just like that. And you could use either side as the front. You could either start decorating your flames with the closed edges or the open ones here, where you see both the colors a lot more easily. You can start putting them on at the very bottom. Okay, you're going to want to clip it off first, of course, but you're going to want to start at the bottom and work your way up. So what I do, I have to say, with this, instead of folding it over, I like to turn it. I like to take it and turn one side 360 degrees, and I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to put these 2 together just like that. I'm going to take the opposite corners. I'm going to stretch them out. You'll notice the inner corners are starting to curl towards each other. I'm going to put it down, and I'm going to tuck those corners in, and I'm going to bunch up the center. Just like that. So what I mean by, turn 360 degrees is take this, go around, and go like that. The reason why I like doing that is because it forms sort of a knot at the top that makes it a little less likely to pull out of the zip tie or fall out of the zip tie at a later date, because that's not something you want to happen. Now, with the design, you can choose, as I was saying before, you can choose to put the curved surfaces forward, which makes everything look nice and neat, and it also makes the phrase a lot less visible. Okay, so that's going to be the advantage of that. You could put them all like this, with the open edges kind of a scoop forward. That's going to look cool too. Or you could just do a combination of both, which is what I do, because I think it's more dynamic and it just looks cool to me. So that's what I do. Okay, let's make one more. By the way, with the colors, I use a lot more of the orange and yellow than the red. I feel the red is just too harsh. Okay, so I got my 2, put them together. I'm going to pull the two opposite corners apart. Take the corners, tuck them in, and bunch that up. Okay, so I'm going to twist it 360 degrees. Just like that. And there we go. We got another flame. Now keep in mind, none of these have to be perfect. You don't have it to make everything even, and you know, if certain things just don't look right to you, it depends on what you want to do, but none of this has to be perfect. See, this one's a little shorter than that one. It's okay, it all looks good. So I've gone ahead and I've grabbed the white grid. That's going to be the base for our flame breath. I like to work with the lights on when I'm doing this. Right now we're going to be attaching these to this. I like to work with the lights on because then I can make sure I'm doing things like not putting the knot right over a light and obscuring it. Stuff like that. And also, I forgot to mention, when you're putting these on, the lights on, I find it best to trim the zip ties one at a time while you're working instead of waiting until the end and trimming them all, because it's a lot more likely you're going to just get into it and accidentally cut a light, which I am guilty of. Okay, so here we go. Here we have our first flame. I'm going to take a zip tie and I'm going to work around the lights. I'm going to want to go up about 2 inches on the side. I'm going to start on the bottom on the side. So I'm going to say I want to start about here. So that's about 2 inches. I'm going to take my zip tie. Let me see if you can. I'm going to take my zip tie here. I'm going to put it very close to the edge. I'm going to put it through one of the holes, and then I'm going to bring it back up like this. Bring it up, and then put it through another hole. That's preferably not more than 1 or 2 squares away because you want this to be tight. You don't want your flames flying away. So here you go. I don't know. Yeah. Again, you'll have to excuse me. This is my first video here. So you got your zip tie ready. You got your flame ready. And now we're just going to zip tie it in. I turn the, you have the knot here on the zip tie. You have, you know, the closure part. I turn that towards the white grid and I kind of stick it in there a little bit while I do it. Keeps it a little more secure too. So I'm going to put the zip tie underneath the other zip tie that's already holding it. Okay. First flame. Something you might want to do also is, instead of going straight across with your zip tie, you know, so going through one hole and then simply going over 1 or 2, is go down a little bit. Oops, lost my zip tie. You're going to want to go down at a 45-degree angle. So it's in like this. I don't know if you can see it on this side. So it's in like this. And then when you put your flame in, it's going to go off to the side a bit instead of straight down. And that's good because it covers up all the white grid for sure. So you have a nice bushy flame going. But first, I'm going to clip out. There we go. Now I'm going to move to the middle. Take my zip tie. I'm going to go up about 1.5 inches. So basically I'm kind of trying to create a gentle arc here. So the side ones are going to be up a little bit higher than the middle ones. So it's going to be a nice flame. So I'm going to go maybe 1.5 inches or an inch. I'm going to try to avoid putting my knots over the lights. So let's see. I'll try going right here. And put the zip tie through one hole. I'm going to move over 2, putting it back through. There we go. We've got it all ready for us to put the flame in. I'm going to make sure to put the zip tie underneath the zip tie that's already on the flame. And I'm going to tighten that and clip it. Okay, so we got 2 so far. I generally put 4 to 5 in a row. So here, I'm going to see if I can get 5 in, but it may or may not be. Now, this is where you really start to use your own artistic creativity, because I can't tell you exactly, you know, put this here, put this here. You know, I can't label this for you. You got to do what looks good to you. You just want to make sure you cover up all of the bald spots, because that's not going to look very good if there's white mesh sticking out. All right, so I'm putting this through one hole, over 2 squares, and back out. And let me see. I think I'll take this one, and I'm going to face this one out with the open edges out, so that we get that more interesting look that I like. I'm going to zip tie underneath the original zip tie, pull it tight, and clip. I'm going to take my next one, and I'm going to make this one, this is going to be 4 to this row. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to do that 45-degree angle that I was talking about before. So I'm going to go towards the very end. I'm going to go up about 2 inches. I'm going to pick a hole that's just a couple away from the edge. So I'm going to pick that one right there, put it through, and then I'm going to want to take this and go up. Yeah, I know you probably can't see what I did there. Maybe you can here. And that's so that when I put this in there, this is going to go out nicely. I didn't do that with the first one, but again, this is it's all relative. And I'm going to have to put another flame in there somehow, because there's a big gap. So, I'm going to go down a little bit here. So I'm going to have one flame that's still sticking out a little bit, but that's okay. I think you're going to go at 45-degree angle for this one too, because I just like the idea of the gentle curve. Zip tie under my original one. Pull it tight and clip it. Okay, so here's what we got so far. Yeah, right now it doesn't look like much, but once you start adding more, it's gonna look better. So from here, I'm gonna say you go up maybe about 1.5 inches from the previous ones, but you're not gonna follow an exact pattern. So you may have 4, you may have 5. In some cases, you may even have 3. You know, especially at the top here. When you do get to the top, you don't worry about putting flames here, because it's going to be in the dragon's mouth. So you'll kind of, you know, maybe put one a little up here, facing out like this, so that it covers the white mesh. You know, same thing on the other side. But you're not going to worry as much about putting them from here up. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to work on this. I'm going to put a few more rows on, and I'm going to show you how I finish up. Okay?